This is our stunning American Samoa, home of KVZK-TV.
Faaulu le apilia Dr. Akinese Nikolao i le mafuanga u whaamaruloa i oia ma le mauta ngase. Tofia se whaatonu le tu mau le HBO mo le taiminei. Tufai na le vaingalo na tolu o la fonga a te ngata o le atunu. O te whaatalo whātu si whaupoponga o tala mai lau KVZK, tu sawatu ma tātou ofisa nei whakatongo. E mo mwatu de nea whiawhi, wa toi apiri nei le sa avea ma whaulunga le vaenga polo keti whaapitoa ma le whawhialoai o le mauta ngasi a Dr. Akinese Nikolao. Le mata upu wa whaate ei nai o ia mai le tau aveina o le atuwhinga. E se whaamtalanga Nikolao, o le whaatulai ese o ia mai le atuwhinga o se whai unga na whaia e au noa ma se mafua anga te tau. O le ofisa loia ia Meredith Sunia o lo tula i mo Nikolao. The hospital former director of the Office of Special Projects and Public Relations, Malo Pao, Dr. Akinese Nikolao, has appealed her wrongful termination, questioning the legality of the process. She is represented by the Meredith Sunia law. In early March, allegations of misconduct, including LBJ financial records being destroyed, unfair hiring practices, were the reasons behind the move by the hospital board to terminate the services of Dr. Akinese from the hospital, as confirmed by acting CEO of Dr. Akapusi Landua.
I le tusi o le apili a Dr. Akinese Nikolao na tusia ia Matis Fulrima. Ma whaatua tusi le taitei whono o komiti whaafwere mo tangasangase ia Dr. Malo wa maua tui o Rusenga. O loo whaulu talaina tua inga se se whaasanga ia Akinese. O le tausanga apili e pea mara se lauri masultasi i tūlau. O loo maa yo ai nisi o atu ngalungo Akinese tua inga mau tangasangase. O maa fuayo na whaatea o ia mai le avanoa. I se vaenga lavo le apili. O loo tā uaile le ai o se avanoa na whaapeo na tu inatu ia te ia le komiti whaafoe e tali ai i nei tua inga mātu ia. Na tā ua Akinese o suenga e peo na tā ua i whaai unga le komiti na whaia e se whaatope lau e au noma se vaa idi le lei ma fuafua te tau whaai unga na ino le whaai unga waa a whiai tangata whaingaluenga pe o ia. O le whaai unga le komiti whaafoe o se whaai unga wa whaia e au noma le tu ino se avanoa ia Akinese e tali ai nei tua inga. O isi o mata upolo a fia le apili, o le a fia ai o whainga te tau po le fairness, o le whaatino ino o lato whai unga. O le lefia fio Akinese o lo manino i lana tarusanga apili on o lana mau, a whaia moni sa iei se lapele au unanga, e iei au wala sa te tau no uia, ma a whai o lea sa te tau lao na whaatino ina le masino yulai, o le tausanga na te anei, a o maua pea wha maunga ma moni mau i le taimi, o le isi tūlanga e peo na tā ua Akinese, o le whaatino ina o ia, wa a fia i le tau le o lona ingoa ai meise o lana tautua ua loa tausanga i le mautangas ngase. In the appeal letter dated March 15, 2023, was addressed to the chairman of the hospital board, Dr. Malo Wamawa Tuyulusenga, cited false allegations against Dr. Akinese. The appeal documents consisted of 151 pages. The former director noted that appeals by employees under the Human Resources Personnel Policy and Administrative Manual. However, questions the involvement of the board for the appeal process, whose decision has been questioned by Mrs. Akinese. According to the appeal, it is questionable that the board would hear an appeal of a termination decision, such as this one, where it played a key role in directing the underlying investigations and perhaps the decision itself. Furthermore, the board has never afforded Dr. Akinese with an opportunity to clear her name and directly respond to the allegations waged against her. The appeal states that the conclusions of incomplete, rushed, and sloppily executed investigations cannot serve as justification for a cause termination. The board's shocking decision to exclude Dr. Akinese from the investigations, resulting in the acting Human Resources Director report and the consultant report, leave the board with report findings that have no real value because they do not reflect all available facts. Even if the board proved the alleged of misconduct, which it does not, the board further fails to address the obvious fairness issues inherent to a just cause analysis in line with the manual. First, it does not appear as if termination is being pursued for the stated causes, because the board failed to discipline the appellant for any conduct during the past decade. If the board had a real reason to discipline the appellant in July 2022 or earlier, the board should have acted then while relevant evidence and witnesses were available. Second, the termination is not the minimum penalty assessed that can correct the appellant and maintain discipline and morale among other employees. When the board failed to provide the appellant with a letter of reprimand in the past, it is not credible that termination would be deemed the only available option now. Third, the circumstances suggest that rather than termination being used as a corrective action for bad conduct, the board's sudden dedication of substantial time and resources to the investigation of appellant looks like the board's sudden dedication of substantial time and resources to the investigation of the appellant looks like an attempt to create a pretextual case for termination. After all, Dr. Akinese no longer works in the HR department, so the termination is not remotely linked to corrective action. The appellant has not had responsibility for HR files or procedure for more than 6 months. However, the board launched investigations less than 1 day after the appellant served the board with her February 3rd grievance and less than a week after the appellant raised concerns about the CMO hiring process. Fourth, the board does not seem to utilize termination as a disciplinary measure for employees who have the same conduct as that alleged of the appellant. Indeed, this appeal involves repeated violations of the manual by the board's leadership. Finally, the termination just does not appear fair or justified for good cause based on the totality of the circumstances. The fact that 3 investigations were launched so close to the appellant's whistleblowing actions and so far from the timeline of the alleged misconduct raises serious flags.
O le tinaia le titia mautu mua pe au folau le ua tofia nei e avea mawhaatonu le tu mau le Official American Samoa Historic Preservation Office. Le titia mautu mua pe au folau has been appointed as Acting Director for the American Samoa Historical Preservation Office.
E le o maua mai lava se tali mai le ofisa le kovana sili le teimi nei. E tu saia reporti na maua ina e lau KVZK e whapea. O le vaiaso na te nei le na whaamalolo ai le sa avea ma whaatonu le Official Historic Preservation Office ia soriako. E le mai ai o le teimi na tula i ai le whaamasinonga whaitu malo i le vaiaso na te nei. E pei ona ta ua i reporti a lau KVZK i na i vaiaso wa tuanai. Na loka ina mai le sa avea ma whaatonu le ofisa nei o no le tango fio le ava malo si ma ave le vale. O le tavale nei al malo le sa whaongai ne soriako na tau fia le ofisa le saunga le mula tele. E pe iona si la fia le lia tui malo Elvis Soriako. Na tō fia le kovana sili a le manu pa le poisia le ngā maunga. E nanti tau aveina le atu finga le whaatonu mo le ofisa le HPO de tausanga lua whelua tasi. O lea ua fuafua e tū la Soriako i lumo le whaamsinonga whaitu malo i se aso le nei vaiaso. O le asfarele na te nei na tō fia i le kovana sili a le manu pa le poisia le ngā maunga le tina ia le titia e avea ma whaatonu le tu mau le HPO mo le teminei e nā te whaai le ofisa le teminei. O le tina ia le titia sa avea mo mua ma whaatonu o se tasio vaenga le ofisa le kovana i le teimi le whainga malo a lolo ma le manu. To date, there has been no official response from the governor's office regarding the action taken against Mr. Suryako. However, there are reports that he has been served with a termination letter last week, a few days after his appearance in the district court. As reported earlier by the KVZK, the cabinet member was arrested 2 Saturdays ago for allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol. Police say that the government vehicle allocated to him was impounded as a result by officers with the Traffic Division of the Department of Public Safety. Tui Malo was appointed as director in 2021 by Governor Lemanu Palipoisialenga to oversee the Historic Preservation Office, which is part of the governor's office. Tui Malo is scheduled to appear in the district court for his status hearing later this week. Meanwhile, on Friday, Governor Lemanu Palipoisialenga appointed Letitia as acting executive director of the American Samoa Historic Preservation Office and as the Historic Preservation Office for the American Samoa government. The acting HPO director has been director for the agency, a division of the governor's office, during the Lolo and Lemanu administration.
O le ua whailo mai le ofiso la fonga e whape a matatu le asolua fulvanu lua whilu tolu o na tuftufaina la fonga le au whaila la fonga mai le aso fitu Februari se ipa ia le aso ivo Februari. E a whelua lua le au whaio le au whaila la fonga le o le amau atu la fonga ile aso antaiao. Mai e silia ma le tolu miliona tala se vai ngā tupe o le a wha aluinai. O le amau atu atau la fonga i tau ngā tupe masani o le whalemeli pe tau au ina fo i lau la fonga i le ofise i utulei. A whaisa e wha moe mawatu lau la fonga i le aso e le i mawatu. Wha mole vala uane le ofisa o la fonga i le numero le ono tolu whatasi waratasi ponisi o whamtalanga. The Department of Treasury has announced the release of the third batch of tax refunds tomorrow, Tuesday, March 28, 2023. A total of 1,022 taxpayers who filed on February 7th and partial from the 9th of February 2023 will be getting their refunds through direct deposits, the U.S. Post Office, or pick up at the disbursing office in Otulei. More than $3 million will be distributed to all taxpayers. If you were expecting your refund and did not receive it, please visit or call the tax office at 633-4181 for further information and assistance. Leo le tatu alo tsina malolonga pupu le nei vai ngō le fiafi atu e tali mai o na whaabawina atu leo tana lau KVZK. Let's take a short break. More news coming up, so stay with us. KVZKTV staff get special training from the EEO office. The Minister for Finance, Mulipolana Rosa Mulio, has rubbished allocations that the government is running out of funds. And 6 men have died after drinking methanol over the weekend in Papua New Guinea. Whaatalo whātu le toi te mai o tala lau KVZK. O aia te tau o vaenga ia nā ngā iai le awa onga a le vaenga le Equal Employment Opportunity Commission i le au whaingaluenga le KVZK. Na awai umale au whaingaluenga le KVZK di nei awa onga, awai ese male tau o lo maramalama i o aia te tau. Knowing your rights to equal employment opportunities was at the forefront of a training held by the Governor's Office, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, with KVZKTV staff this morning.
I le taimina whaatau nui nai le awa onga po le training a le vaenga le EEO po le Equal Employment Opportunity Office i le KVZK de tau nei. Na te le vaenga na awa ui nai le au whainga luenga i le taimina awai ai i le nei ia awa onga. O le tui ai te tau o le tangata whainga luenga o vaenga ia na mafuri ai awa onga le ofisa de tau nei. O le tina ia e seta Josefa. Na whātou taiele awa onga e whamarino ai le au whainga luenga o lātou ai te tau. Ai me se lava pe ātula i maini fi e se inga i tonu o so se ofisa. I le taimio le awa onga de tau nei, na te leima nātou whaalia le au whainga luenga, i li tū iau ai te tau i tonu le ngā luenga, ma vaenga i mawhai e oe o na whaatinuina. I whesiria nisi le au whainga luenga na awai de tau nei, na whesiri ngi ai le tūlanga i ngā luenga whai le tangata, ai ua whaatinuina i lisi tangata. I le whaamaramlamanga o le tūlanga i le tina ia e seta. O so se whawhita au ni lawa e tūla i mai i to tonu na ngā duenga e a whiai oe malau so an tangata. E te tau na whailoa i lau te itai po le pule fo i le matanga luenga o lo e ngā lue ai. Ai a le ai, wana e arusa o le i le official EEO e tu inatua i lau tālo sanga pe a whai o lo i ai se whaale tonu i to tonu le ngā duenga. The training was led by Mrs. Eseta Yosefo with more than 20 TV staff in attendance. Mrs. Yosefo explained there are processes in place when it comes to employees' grievance lodged with the appropriate authority. She pointed out where there are internal issues, there is a process which includes lodging a complaint with your immediate supervisor. If you are not satisfied, then you take the next step, which is directly to your director, and if that does not help, then you can lodge it with the EEOC, or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The brochure distributed amongst the staff says there are 5 laws enforced by the EEOC Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, Age Discrimination Act, Equal Pay Act, the American with Disabilities Act, and the Genetic Information Act. Under Title VII prohibits discrimination on race, color, sexual harassment, and pregnancy, as well as national and origin religion. Everyone is protected from discrimination regardless of race and color. Persons of mixed racial backgrounds are also protected and do not need to prove their exact heritage. Sex discrimination is not tolerated as well, which involves treating someone unfavorable because of their gender. According to the brochure, sexual harassment has been verbal, physical, or pictorial.
I tala mea pia na te ena uma i le minista o tupe i Samoa ya mulipola ana Rosa Malio. Tua ingai whapea wa amata una le ini tupe le malo, ma e talusia e aulia le masino April le tausanga nei. I lana saunoanga i le au whaasara lau, ina ua mai au na sainia le fitu se lau lima se fuluafe. Tala i tu malo e lima i lalo le tasi miliona tala, o le ati na e le vaiaso le te nei. Na ta uai e mulipola le tele o tupe o lo avanoa mo ngaluenga le malo. O nei tu inga o lo whaasara lauina solo ni su tangata whingaluenga le malo, e whapea e o atu le masino Aprila, wale e ini tupe le malo. The Minister for Finance, Mulipola Rosa Malio, has rubbished allegations that the government is running out of funds and that the government will be lucky to make it through April 2023. Speaking to the media after signing $750,000 to 5 constituencies under the $1 million development project last week, Mulipola said there are ample funds available for the government operations. How can we disperse funds for the 1 million district developments project if there was no money? Asked Mulipola. The allegations have been circulating for some time and spread by certain government employees, saying the government will run out of funds by April 2023. I tātou tala mai le Pasifika, e to ono ni ali iwa maridiu nei, ono le inuina o se vaila au ona o ta ua le methanol i le whai unga le vaiasu nei i Papua New Guinea. O le isi ali e to tasi le olo o iai o ia i tūlanga ti ngai ne le mauta ngase i Papua New Guinea. O i lātou wa maridiu o se vaenga o le sifulumarima mai le pitonu o Slamanda, na lātou inuina le vaila au nei i le aso wharaile, se o lava i le aso to nai. isi fa tarandoanga ale isi fa mchalanga ale na avea nei ali I le fale mai ya Daniel Narako e fa pea isi fo ila na va ayaunga na mawai nei ali. 6 men have died after drinking methanol over the weekend in Papua New Guinea. One remains in critical condition at Angau Hospital, while 12 more are being kept under close observation. The deceased were among a group of 15 from the Salamanda who consumed the methanol on Friday through Saturday last week. Daniel Narako, who took one of them to hospital, said the symptoms were unusual and disturbing. Ele I awinatu ia report le tau mo Amerika Samoa de vai go le fiafi o se whainga nei le swingo tu pere nei fu yaso. Tasi le tala Amerika whare di wina mawai le lua tala o nas fitu sene tala Samoa, lua tala lua sfuruiva tonga paanga, lua tala sfurmaliva tala fiti, ma le limas fulfa limas fuluono Philippine pesos. Here's a look at our currency exchange rates for today. $1 gives you 2 tala, 67 sene Samoan tala, 229 Tonga Paanga, 219 Fiji dollars, and 54 and 56 Philippine pesos. And that's our currency exchange rate for today. O se whaingo le tau le pōna nei ma le aso lua ma tele na awaoa e te olu timunga ma lua le e fitu se fulvalu, be velo le e valu se fulfitu, sa veri mai mātu lima ili se fulu mai le li tu la. O se whainga le pō le aso lua ma le aso lulua ma tele na awaoa e te olu timunga ma lua le e fitu se fulviva, be velo le e valu se fulvalu, sa veri mai mātu lima ili se fulu mai le li tu la. Looking at tonight's weather and Tuesday's, mostly cloudy, numerous showers, lows around 78, highs around 87, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking at Tuesday night and Wednesday's, mostly cloudy, numerous showers, lows around 79, highs around 88, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that's our weather report for this evening. O le whaunga re nau tala, mai lau KVZK, whaaftei tele le whaatasi mai, tō whaasifua. And that concludes your news from KVZK TV. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.